Welcome everyone, Julie Boyer here. Super excited to be continuing on the theme of self-love, and I brought a very special guest today, Nicole Monasterio, who I have not known for that long, but the first time I met her, she introduced me to the sound therapy work that she does, and I remember just being like, I don't know what this is, but it is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Can we please do more of it? And thankfully, Nicole said, I will do more of this. And she's actually now launched it as a business here on Vancouver Island. But I just thought, what a great person to connect with about, self-love and this type of healing that we might not be aware of. So welcome, Nicole.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
So just tell us a little bit about your story. I'd love to know how you got, to this place where you are today, where you're doing this really creative sound healing as a business.
Well, it's really interesting. I come from a family of musicians, and for most of my life, I sort of lived in their shadow. I thought, well, unless I'm great at a specific instrument, what is the point of playing it? And yet my soul was always aching to play music. And so I would, be learning the guitar for 20 years, just quietly in my own room. And then my father passed in 2013, and I just was begging the universe, for something. What am I meant to be doing right now? There's obviously an ache in my soul, and it's just not being fulfilled. And I actually said out loud to the universe, I can't seem to catch a break. And 3 days later, I broke my nose on the bottom of a swimming pool. And that led me to this sound, voice, and music therapy program at the California Institute of Integral Studies. And, quite figuratively, I broke my nose, but then also metaphorically, I released all of these blockages that were in my nasal passage. And so I found my voice, basically. I found my voice. And I took this program and I studied with leaders in the music healing world. And it was a very, very wonderful program. And then shortly after that, I became pregnant and became a mom. And so I just did not do anything with it. I submerged myself in motherhood. And then again, my soul was aching about 2.5 years into that. It was just wanting some more things. And I had been practicing sound healing on myself over those years, but I hadn't been practicing with anyone else. And so I started volunteering for the Crisis Society, and they were, they would express self-care, self-care, self-care. If you're doing this kind of work, you have to do self-care. And that was the one massive area of my life that was completely unbalanced. I was giving all of myself to my daughter and nothing to myself. And then I was also now giving myself to volunteer hours, again, nothing to myself. So in that, I was like, okay, I need to get back to my sauna because that's some self-care for me, and I need to start doing this music more. And oddly enough, a gal contacted me, and she said, hey, would you like to do a group workshop with me and be my sound healer? And I said, oh my goodness, yes. So it just kind of catapulted from there since then.
So I love your story because that was it. Like, you went and you did it because it was your heart was calling it. It was like your soul's work. But then, like many women happens, we have our children and we just we're like, my dreams can go here, and like child, because we've wanted it, right? We're like, how can we, and then we have to figure out how to marry the two together, because you do run another business as well. So it's not like you have enough on your plate as it is. You could have just said never again. But tell us a little bit. So, many people probably aren't even familiar with what sound healing is. Tell me a little bit about what specifically it is that you do, because that's what got me so excited when you first, I don't want to say, you say exactly what you do.
I know. It's just using sound to create harmony within. So you can, any discord or anything that's not balanced within the sound frequencies can balance that. And so you can do different modalities. Chanting is a very ancient tradition, and I love the chanting because it creates the vibration right there. So it's basically like your soul is speaking, in my opinion, and that's very powerful. And afterwards I'm buzzing, and so I will do that just during the day. If I'm driving, I'll just kind of run through a chant just to stay calm and present and focused. And then there's the human tuning forks. And I studied actually with the gentleman who found it, that they could be used to tune the human body. And he discovered that in 1978. His name is John Bollet. Incredible man. And so the human tuning forks those are a fan favorite for sure. People love those. And I like to work on, with people in person. Absolutely.
And it's the tuning forks, they also are tuned to different specific frequencies, which I really didn't know about throughout the universe.
Yeah, absolutely.
So cool.
Yes, it's all mathematical, and it goes in intervals. And so you can do the planets. You have the scale, like A through G. And then there's tuning forks for the brain levels, like beta, theta, delta.
Yeah.
And then there's even Fibonacci. I remember you knew what that was. Fibonacci series, which is really cool. That's the different frequencies within a shell. So cool.
And it's cool too. And then you had some of them have had some gemstones as well to help with the sound, I guess, getting.
Yeah, like it's just allowing the energy of the gemstone to go through. So those are weighted tuning forks. So funny. I wish I had one to show you right now.
No, well, you know what? I'm going to. Okay, so if you're watching the video, there's a little bit of a pause there because we decided that Nicole needed to get some of these tuning forks so you could see what it was all about. If you're listening to the audio, you'll just have to use your imagination or follow the link for the video. So Nicole, show us a little bit about what do these look like?
So they're just tuning forks. They look exactly the way a tuning fork would look for a musical instrument, but they have a different frequency. So you just hit them. I don't know if you can hear that over there.
Oh yeah. Ooh, I can feel it over here.
Yeah, and you can put it up close to your ear, and then it becomes on the same frequency together. So this is a different one, and this is a different one, but when they go through, they came on the same wave. So they're pretty cool. So then you have weighted ones, which have a weight at the bottom, and then you can put them on certain spots in the body and allow the frequency to go in your body that way rather than hearing it.
And I love it too because it's a different modality that I hadn't even heard of. I didn't know existed. So when I first met you, it was this beautiful women's circle that a friend of ours put together, which is so beautiful. It's actually been one of my, I've only been living here for a year, and having that group of women come together very soon after I moved here was a real gift. And meeting you ladies. But I remember my ankle had been really bothering me from previous injuries, and I probably had twisted it because I may or may not be accident prone. But I do remember I was like, a couple days later, I'm like, oh, that's so weird. My ankle doesn't bother me as much as it was. Like, it really did make a difference. But I hadn't really been it's not like I've been focusing on my ankle healing. I just kind of forgot about it. And then few days later, I was like, oh, that must have helped because my ankle is not bothering me. So that's what I like about that kind of healing, where it's like, you don't have to believe it works or not. It's going to work. Like, that's what's cool is like, I didn't have to be like, oh, I'm totally invested in this and I totally understand it. I was just like, well, you said like, put it on your ankle. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. And it did the work without me having to be, understanding or believing or whatever, just letting it do its work. So,
well, it's incredible. We all know that music is so healing. We all have different preferences of what we like to listen to and what can get us through the day or calm us down or any of that. And sound is exactly the same way, but just even on a deeper, more profound level. It can do the same thing. Or it does.
What's that?
I said it does do the same thing.
It does, absolutely. And you mentioned a little bit about the work that you were doing with the Crisis Center and how they had talked about self-care. And I'm doing this work around self-love, which I think is like I think self-care has gotten a little bit of a reputation of being a little bit selfish, and we hear all the time, like, self-care isn't selfish, but then we're always putting those words together. So it's like, I'm bringing it around to a different perspective of really self-love, like doing things about love for our soul, for ourselves, for our universe, for our connected, spirit. So if someone was kind of, needing that connection and that love, how can your work help with that? How does your work connect to that?
Well, I have some different sessions that I offer. Like I offer a really beautiful inner child session. So for me, my experience is sort of like, it's just like therapy. Like instead of choosing to go see your therapist and talk about some of these things, we can just kind of get to the root of these things without even having to talk. We can just go there, and your soul will open up and it will have its experience. And I kind of just get to facilitate that. And it's really, really beautiful. You know, I remember multiple times different instructors and different teachers said, you know, just don't get bogged down with the words. Just, you don't, you know, you can give a little bit of an explanation, but you don't need to just, it's not about that. It's just feel it and live it and be it. And that's actually been, you know, very helpful, you know, suggestion, because that kind of allows me just to facilitate, and then people can receive and we don't have to get.
I want to mention that people can receive, which is one of the hardest things, I think, when we look at self-love, is the ability to receive love. I think as women, we very easily will give it away and give it and give it and give it, and we will forget to allow the receiving. So working with like someone like you, who's just giving during your work. And this is why you said, like, I have to do things for me. Mm-hmm. You mentioned sauna as one of your sauna as one thing that you do. What other things do you do? Because this work probably does take, you know, something out of you because of the way you're giving. Or do you receive as well during this work?
I do receive. It's really interesting because I'm actually following my soul's calling. It doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like any work at all. I'm actually really excited, and the preparation to it. Anytime I've ever prepared for anything in life, it's stressful and I'm waiting until the last moment. But with this, there's just an ease and a flow and a continuum, and I'm just there and here.
That's so good. Okay, so you are based in Nanaimo on Vancouver Island. Yeah. You do your work in person?
Yeah. Okay. I'm just actually at the Sound Healing Space is in renovation right now, and it is being carefully constructed and crafted to be like the ultimate womb space of healing. It's small and, you know, closed up and warm and cozy and safe. And it's, I'm just so excited to have my first client in November.
Yay. Okay. So you're really just starting. So this is a good timing for us to be sharing this with those that are local. Now, for those that aren't local, is this like, are there practitioners? Can we find people that do work like you around North America? Like, how is there a community?
There is, I believe it's called the Sound Summit. They're online. You know,
we can share the links too if you're not.
Yeah. That might be better. I'll have to look on my phone. Okay. Yeah, and then I think you can just find sound healers. Kind of, you might have to do a bit of investigating and see. Lots of stuff will come up online. But I know it's gained more traction in the recent years. You know, probably more 5 or so years. But it's funny because these are ancient traditions in other parts of the world.
Of course, and it is a lot of what we're doing is going back to. I mean, I don't want to go back to a time when we were all dying at age 45 and all that, but I want to go back to a time where we looked at healing in such a different way and different modalities, and we weren't caught up in the stress of life and I really want to come back to what you said about, you know, how this is your soul's work, so it doesn't feel like work for you. And it's like, to me, that actually is a foundation and a tenet of self-love, is like doing work that brings you joy. And even for me, just doing these interviews is actually like a tremendous source of joy for me. I never feel like these are work. I always get excited because I'm learning from so many people that have so much different life experience than I do and look at things in a different way. And, you know, you were definitely one of the people that I wanted to connect with as quickly as possible. I know we were going to maybe delay, and I said, no, we have to do this now because you do work that's so different.
Yeah.
So what's the easiest way for people to find you? So local people find you. Do you have a website?
No, not yet. That's Facebook? Also, Facebook. So,
okay, Facebook.
Yeah, my name. And then also I have a business page on Facebook that's also in development.
Okay, great. And we'll make sure that that's all linked. And also, do you, like, if people want to just follow you and see what you're up to, Instagram, Facebook, is that still the best place?
Yep, absolutely. All those are being linked up.
Okay.
You know, I've never really been a business person. I've always kind of been just I've always been a caretaker, but
Right.
so I never had to really develop much social media presence. So I'm just kind of all developing all that now too.
Well, it's an exciting time because you are developing something really fun and new and exciting in a community that I think will really resonate
Um,
with your
yeah.
work. I know.
It's just so beautiful. You know, people are really into this on the island, and I love that. And I've got some traveling stuff happening soon too. And yeah, it's
Yay.
all just happening. It's really exciting.
Amazing. So, just as we wrap things up, I would love for you to share, from your work experience or your passion or even for your life, if people that are watching or listening could make one change today in a habit or just start something new or maybe stop doing something, what would you recommend?
Well, kind of goes hand in hand. So, you know, I'm very aware of the thoughts that we have because those are very programmed and those really do create your experience in life, my experience in life. So, when I pay attention to that, and then I also do sound healing work combined, then I stay present throughout the day and I can get through just the day. So humming is a really, really great way to kind of bring myself back into the present. And you just want to create that vibration. You can feel it within your, you know, in your spine and down. You can even, if you believe in chakras or follow chakras and know anything about them, you can focus on them that way. And then just be aware of your thoughts because your thoughts are the frequencies as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I love that. The humming suggestion. That's
Yeah.
something I wouldn't even have thought of, but just to recalibrate yourself, bring yourself back to center,
Your
think of
own
the
voice. We
chakra.
forget that our voices, especially women, we've been trained to not have voices. You know, I remember a movie for me was The Little Mermaid growing up. That movie literally tells you you'll be happy if you give away your voice. It's just so crazy.
No. It, it's such a fun time right now in terms of like what's happening for women and how we're like, it's almost like a waking up, right? It's like waking up to like, hang on, that message actually wasn't really that healthy for women. And a lot of things that we've accepted as the norm don't have to be. And I think when I connect with people like you who are doing types of work that aren't mainstream yet, or that are a little bit on the fringe right now, that's kind of leading this whole conversation into a really different world where it's no longer about patriarchy or matriarchy. It's about us. Right?
Absolutely.
It's about
Absolutely. And
the
that's,
world.
yeah, you know, in the group workshops I've been facilitating lately with the sound healing, this is the main point that I make is that we absolutely will not be able to rise unless we rise together. We have to support one another to get there, especially the sisterhood. We
Yeah,
need it because women are so incredibly strong. And when we work together, absolute literal magic transforms, you know, in front of
I
our eyes.
agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. So thank you for this really amazing suggestion of humming, using our voices, right? Like I just want people to really pick that up. And I really enjoyed our time together. I want to spend more time with you, and I can't wait to experience this in your new studio once it's all set up.
So
Thank
excited.
you again, Nicole,
You're
for
welcome. You're welcome.